Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Top Gun is a 1986 action drama film that was directed by Tony Scott. It was produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer. It stars Tom Cruise as Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell, Nick Goose Bradshaw, played by Anthony Edwards, with Kelly McGillis, Val Kilmer, and Tom Skerritt appearing in supporting roles. The storyline goes that the Top Gun Naval Fighter Weapons School is where the best of the best train to refine their elite flying skills. When hotshot fighter pilot Maverick is sent to the school, his reckless attitude and cocky demeanor put him at odds with the other pilots, especially the cool and collected Iceman, played by Val Kilmer. But Maverick isn't only competing to be one of the top fighter pilots, but he's also fighting for the attention of his beautiful flight instructor, Charlotte Blackwood, or Charlie, played by Kelly McGillis. This film is one of the most era-defining movies of the 1980s. And it's really strange to try to imagine this film without its lead actor, Tom Cruise. But you have to realize that John Travolta was the first choice to play Maverick. The Saturday Night Fever icon was initially approached to take on this central role. After wrangling with his agent for some time, eventually the studio's producers pulled the plug because he was just considered too expensive. And he had also suffered a series of box office flops, so it really proved to be too much of a gamble for the studio. Tom Cruise didn't want to be in the film either at first. He was the first name on the list after Travolta, but he initially turned it down. The film executives went to quite a few others, people like Patrick Swayze, Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, Matthew Broderick, and a whole list of others. But all of these actors turned it down. They just weren't interested in an aviation movie. Producer hotshot Jerry Bruckheimer finally convinced Cruise to join the production. He did this by using the relationship between director Tony Scott and Ridley Scott, who had worked with Cruise on the movie Legend in 1985. They had the Navy take Tom up in one of their fighters, and they pulled 5 Gs on him. They did barrel rolls and everything else that they could do. He ended up throwing up in the plane, and by the time he got down to the tarmac, he ran over to a payphone and called the producers and told them, "I'm in. I'm doing this movie. I love it. This is great stuff." Again, it's very difficult to envision anyone other than Val Kilmer playing the role of Iceman, who was Maverick's nemesis. His steamy, sarcastic performance became one of Kilmer's defining roles. But he initially felt that the script was silly, and he really didn't like these type of films. He shared the same agent as Tom Cruise, and he went ahead and went to the film's casting call. After he tried to sabotage his audition, he finally came around to the movie after buying into the director Tony Scott's vision of the film. Interestingly enough, when the news of the sequel came rumbling down the pipelines, Kilmer personally reached out to Cruise, asking if he could reprise his role. Now, Maverick and Iceman didn't get along on the screen. And that was true in real life, too. It's all water under the bridge now between Cruise and Kilmer. But during the original film shoot, they took their on-camera disliking to the next level. Top Gun was made years before the advent of green screen and CGI, or at least it was in its infancy at that time. So it required real-life jets and real-life pilots. The Pentagon charged Paramount $1.8 million just to use the aircraft and Navy ships. So the producers needed to make the most out of their chance to shoot. This meant all the actors went into the sky for their scenes in the cockpit, with the Navy fighter jets flown by a designated pilot. All of Maverick's stunt flying in the movie was done by Scott Altman, who later went on to become an astronaut. The song Take My Breath Away was so good that it inspired the director to add more romantic scenes to the film. He became mesmerized by the sound of it, causing him to add more scenes of romance than were in the original script. This was despite the fact that lead actor Tom Cruise and his love interest Kelly McGillis didn't actually have much of a romantic chemistry at all. As a matter of fact, it's said that they didn't get along at all. Tom Cruise's stature caused a problem during filming, as his height has always been a problem in his movies. The height difference between himself and McGillis really bothered the studio. Tom Cruise was 5'7" and Kelly McGillis was 5'10". They eventually made specially lifted cowboy boots for their scenes together, with McGillis being told to wear no shoes at all when possible so that their heights matched. Now, there's a sad part to the filming of this movie in that stunt pilot Art Scholl was killed during the production. He died when his Pitts camera plane failed to recover from a flat spin and plunged into the Pacific Ocean. His last words over the radio were, "I have a problem. I have a real problem." The exact cause of the crash was never determined, and neither the aircraft nor his body were ever recovered. The movie ended up being dedicated to him. Now, the character that's portrayed by Kelly McGillis is based on a real-life person named Christine Fox. She was a civilian flight instructor that the producers met on their visit to Miramar while doing research to prepare for the movie. She eventually rose through the ranks at the Pentagon, eventually retiring in May of 2014 as Acting Deputy Secretary of Defense, the highest post ever held by a woman at the Department of Defense. She's also a very tall, blonde, leggy lady that was known for the clacking of her high heels. She always stated that everybody knew when she was coming because she was one of the few people there who walked around with their heels clicking. Take a rewatch of this fascinating film from the 1980s. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.